Welcome back. It has been a long time. I'm Erica.
And I'm Melody.
She is now a brunette, and I know that it's a different look, but she is as beautiful brunette as she is blonde.
Thank you.
So good to be back. We have John Wiatrak. He works for RDU. And what do you do exactly?
I am the Airport Authority Noise Officer. So it's my job to deal with the thousands of noise complaints we get a year, but the other part of my job that I really enjoy is working with the realtors and their clients to really educate our community on what the airplane noise is, where it is, why it is, and all things involved with airport noise.
Wow.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been in this position for 6 years, but I've been in aviation my entire life. I grew up in Raleigh, and honestly, I basically grew up at the airport.
Are you a pilot?
Yeah, can you fly a plane?
You are?
Yep, started flying when I was 14, actually.
Wow.
And yeah, I kind of went to college for that. So
Did you fly commercial?
I have my commercial license, but I'm not currently
Wow.
a commercial pilot.
So if we wanted to fly private and found a plane, you could fly it for us?
Yeah, a little plane, yeah, depending on how many engines and how fast it is. Yeah,
Oh, I love that. That's great.
That's really cool. So you're really passionate about what you do.
yeah, I've been doing it my whole life. Been all different facets of the industry, from operations guy to airport manager to now this position at RDU. So I think it gives me a good background of all the parties involved, because it is a lot of stakeholders when it comes to noise. So I think my experience is pretty well rounded in this industry.
Do you live within the flight path?
So where I live in Cary is actually in between the two flight paths.
He's like, I know where to be.
So yeah, I do get regular noise in my house, but it's actually one of the things I talk to people about. Before we moved in, the previous owners put in really good windows, so I never hear noise inside of my house.
That's a good
So
point.
That's a good
Now,
point.
when you're outside, if you're grilling, do you hear it?
We do. Yeah, we will see
it like
the
background noise,
overflights.
though?
For me, it doesn't bother me because, again, my whole life has been growing up on airports and around airports, so I don't notice it. But I definitely understand there are special circumstances where people are ultra sensitive. So those are the people I really try to work with, your clients, to kind of educate them. Hey, this is what to expect, and this is why it's here. This is how often it's going to be here, and that kind of thing.
So you were saying earlier before we were on camera that the flight paths they've been there since the 50s or so, and they're going to remain the same.
Yeah, so the flight paths in the United States, the flight paths are really just based on the aircraft's operational characteristics. So they fly in straight lines to and from runways. They turn at safe altitudes. So we really have this scenario in the United States where it's a firewall between everything else and flight paths. No one can change the flight paths. And, there's a good reason behind that, for safety and security. So no matter who moves under the flight paths, no matter how many times you complain, they're just not going to change because they're based on the aircraft's characteristics.
And it's based on also the wind, right? On you guys, how...
Yeah, so the way the airplanes take off and land is always into the wind. So when we think about RDU, we have runways that point to the northeast and to the southwest. And what determines whether you take off and land in one of those directions is the wind. So I explain to people, even if you take a flight from Orlando, Florida, if the winds are generally from the south at RDU, you will fly past the airport, do a U-turn to land into the wind.
Are those called like the tail winds and then the headwinds?
You always land and take off with a headwind. It's a requirement. So even if, which I've explained before, even if the winds shift 100 times in a day, those air traffic controllers will shift that runway flow direction 100 times a day. If it takes 4 weeks for the winds to shift, they will stay in the same direction for 4 weeks. So that's vital for our community to understand, because if you live underneath, an area that only gets overflights from takeoffs, and we're stuck in a takeoff flow for an extended period of time, you're going to be like, oh, they must have changed something. They must have changed the flight paths. Now I'm getting all the overflights. When in fact, it's not. It's just the wind.
Just the wind.
But that's so important for clients to understand. I get a lot of calls from people that are like, oh, I did my homework. I visited the house 4 times and I never saw a single flight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that also changes, right?
Of
Based
the flow
on
direction.
Right.
Yes.
And then how many more people are now traveling, right? So that can dictate it as well.
Yeah.
Right?
So the airport's a reflection of its community. Every airport in the world is, and RDU is not an exception. So as our community grows, as we move in tons of great people, the airport is going to grow correspondingly.
How many flights a day do you typically see?
For commercial flights, we have between 250 and 350 a day.
And that's from 5:36 until.
Yeah, so it depends on the day, but our earliest flights, our earliest commercial flights really start. I think there's an LA one that comes in at around 4:00 in the morning. But yeah, the busy times at RDU are 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then again at night from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Mm-hmm. Now, what I always caution people with is as a public airport, as all airports in the United States, we are not legally allowed to close.
Right.
So the airport is open 24 hours a day.
Which is wild.
So when we talk about the population growth and we talk about those peak flight times, I caution people that as the airport gets busier and busier and busier, and we have to fit those airplanes into the limited number of gates, we could see changes in those peak flight times. We could start to see late night flights and earlier morning flights. But again, it's a response to the market. It's not just the airport deciding. The airport actually legally can't decide when airplanes fly. As an airport authority, we can't tell them what to do. So
okay, that's so interesting.
So I was just at a showing it was a few months ago, and we knew it was in the flight path, and the clients, they already lived within the flight path, okay. But we were outside, and I felt like you could touch the plane, and you saw this huge Delta advertisement underneath it. And so my question is, in the flight paths, what's the lowest that you see them going over some of the properties within the Raleigh-Durham area?
So that would be a really obviously location specific, mm-hmm. But we talk about, obviously the airplanes, when they land and take off, they're at 0 feet altitude. So it obviously goes up from there. So the closer you are to the airport, the lower they're going to be. But when we look at neighborhoods that are the closest neighborhoods we have in Morrisville and that Leesville Road area, kind of like right off the end of the runway, which is, some of these houses, I'll look on my map and, as the crow flies, they're, 7,000 feet from the end of a 10,000 foot runway. Mm-hmm. So in that circumstance, I mean, the airplanes, I've seen them over that area, they could be as low as 1,000 feet easily. Mm-hmm. So when you figure we have, 300 foot tall pine trees or 200 feet up pine trees, that's not too high above that. So.
I mean, it's one of those things that when people live in RDU, they're kind of expecting that. And the closer you get, like you expect to hear airplane noise, because you want to live close to the airport. So
and that's where those noise disclosure statements that exactly. I'm sure you guys are familiar with. So mm-hmm. we have these, existing contours. We call them the land use planning contours, but there are these noise contours around the airport. And anytime a transfer of a parcel occurs within those contours, it's supposed to be, or you have to sign a noise disclosure. And that's actually a North Carolina state statute. So we do everything we can to try to advise the community where the airplane noise is going to be. But in addition to that, that's where my efforts and that's where like this whole thing, this podcast and me talking to realtors really comes from. Because while it's great to do your homework and look at those contours and visit the property, it really is, not to toot my own horn, but it really is valuable to talk to me and say, hey, I'm looking at this house. What does the noise look like? And I'll actually put together like a whole little noise report and answer all your questions. And my little line that I tell people is I'd rather you call me 1,000 times before you buy a house than one time after.
Oh, that's a good point.
So I'd rather you just bother me everything you can before you make that huge decision.
It reminds me of the 540.
I was going to say that.
Yes, yeah. The Bruce. There used to be a Bruce that used to help us at 540 and he would map it out and he would, what we didn't think about or initially was the on and off ramps too. Mm-hmm. So you would say, oh, we're so far away from the road. Yeah. But then we'd see this little on and off ramp in the map and be like, oh, well, you're
so
right
the noise would increase, so they change.
And the noise, Mm-hmm.
The roads are similar to the air traffic, and obviously it's the same thing. As the roads get busier, the noise gets bigger. The same thing with the airplanes. As the airport gets busier, those existing flight paths and the existing noise will tend to get bigger. Now, the other thing I must say about that is, because I know it's kind of scary to say, oh, well, the airport's only going to get busier, so the noise is only going to get worse. But what's canceling that out is the airplanes are getting exponentially quieter.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a mandate from the FAA. And I don't want to get too far into the science, but
love it.
The manufacturers, so your Boeing, your Embraer, your Airbus, they are mandated to make newer airplanes much quieter. So what we've seen is, even though the airport has gotten busier over the last 30 years, the actual noise as measured by the federal government is actually becoming less. So that's what I always tell people, when I have to tell somebody, oh yeah, you're right underneath the landing and the approach, and you can look forward to about 350 overflights a day. I always, at the end of that message is always, keep in mind, the airplanes are becoming exponentially quieter.
Now, regarding Boeing, just curious.
Oh, gosh.
Because you're a pilot. Wasn't there an issue with was it the 747 or it's like the Airbus?
There's a 737 MAX.
737 MAX.
There he goes.
Yeah,
Do you know if they have resolved that?
Yeah, my understanding is they did. Yeah, it was a flight control problem. And I don't want to get too far into it. I don't know Boeing, but yeah, my understanding was it was a flight controls problem, and the pilots that had received training on how to resolve the problem when it arose, they fixed it, and now everybody has the training. So, but yeah, there was like 2 or 3 crashes worldwide of that airplane. Yeah,
I was wondering.
Yeah.
As far as growth goes, like what are you looking at RDU like over the next 5 years? Like what are you seeing?
So the next 5 years, we actually have an official branding at the airport called Transform RDU. Now it's a whole branding campaign, but the next 5 years are exciting. We have a new runway, and when I say new runway, it's actually replacing an existing runway. So right now we have 2 jet runways at RDU that are parallel. The western runway, the one that mainly serves Terminal 2, so all your bigger international flights, it's at the end of its useful life. The actual concrete is at the end of its life, and we've been piecemealing it together for 5 years.
Is it asphalt on concrete, or is it just concrete? And so you can't really
Fix
once
that.
it cracks.
Yeah, you gotta replace
exactly.
that.
You can't really repair concrete. So we've been trying to keep that runway, or we have been keeping it usable for years, but we're replacing it. Right now, we're actually, building the groundwork for that, and that's probably going to be done around 2030.
How much does that cost?
I think the runway is around $2 billion, but this Transform RDU includes about, I think last time I saw, a little bit over $6 billion in total new infrastructure.
And that includes the $2 billion runway.
Yep, the new runway,
and that's gonna combine the 2, or it's just that one.
So it'll be built 537 feet next to the existing runway, which is great news for me, because just think about it. Those runways are like water hoses that spout the noise. So if we build a runway kind of pointed a different direction, or if we build a runway further away, that's going to expose like a whole new part of our community to noise. But that's not what we're doing.
That doesn't change the flight path technically by
it'll change it 537 feet.
Well, then,
which
what you just said.
Well, yeah, but
that it's
we talk
not
about
changing is wrong.
We talk about 537 feet. As far as the noise goes, it will impact, and we actually are going to have to offer to insulate about 37 homes that are technically significantly impacted. They'll be
blown in.
We'll have a acoustic engineer go in, visit the homes, analyze the homes, and then figure out how they would insulate the homes.
Because that's how much 537 feet can really impact things.
And that's a good point. If somebody loves the location, how can they mitigate some of the noise?
Great question that I get all the time. I get your clients calling me up, and they're like, "Oh my God, we found this perfect house off Creedmoor or Leesville." And but we visited it. We visited it, and it's so loud. And I'm like, "Well, did you hear the planes inside?" And they're like, "Oh, well, not really, just outside." But yeah, you can insulate a home, and I always give them my personal story about my house.
Windows.
I don't hear anything inside, and it really does boil down to windows, weather stripping, doors, and some improvements that can be made to the HVAC system are the 4 main ways. But
insulation
and for
blown
sure.
in.
Yeah.
Now, I think typically it's what R19 is what they've been using in the attic. Do they go higher up?
I think so. Yeah. But only if they determine that's one of the ways to cut the noise.
And
they might just say
hire an acoustic. Or
for sure.
Do you have somebody you can recommend if they call in?
I don't, on purpose, because I don't want to show, we can't show favoritism for that. But there's a few firms around here that do it. But I'm telling you, the windows are one of the biggest differences. Just anything above a single pane is going to cut down the noise tremendously. The other thing I do have to mention, because I mention it to your clients all the time, is landscaping.
Oh yeah, trees.
Believe it or not, trees and leaves cut the noise tremendously, and that is why this time of year,
evergreens.
Yeah.
This time of year, I get an increase in noise complaints because the leaves are gone.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
how many complaints do you feel like you get a day about the noise?
So last year I got about 5,000 complaints. This year I'm on track for 6,000. So those are complaints. Those are people saying, "Hey, I don't like this noise. Let's discuss it." But I also get, so far this year, I looked at it before I got here, I've got 473 what I classify as inquiries. So these are your clients calling me. So 473, that's more than one per day.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that. I'm
Do
talking
you ever
to more
talk
than
them off
one.
a ledge?
Probably. I mean, a few of them call very upset and sound like they're almost in tears that we love this property so much, but we heard this loud airplane. And, there are times that, like this weekend, or not this weekend, the past weekend, we were supposed to have a fighter jet overfly of the NC State game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they canceled it. It didn't happen because of the weather, but they still came to RDU and they still practiced the route. So I had a ton of people call me upset about what was that unbelievably loud noise.
I think that's
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
And it's just a
That's
one-off.
cool, though. Yeah.
And it's just a one-off.
For the
So-
kids
Yeah.
to see?
Yeah, but it was just a one-off. And we had, last couple of years, we had the Duke Notre Dame game, had a huge flyover. And I think I got like 250 noise complaints from that one little operation. But yeah, that's the kind of thing I can discuss with them. And that's why it's so important to call me, because if you hear something while you're visiting a property, there are tools, but you don't have the knowledge to be like, oh, I know what that was. It was a one-off. So that's why I always would always push for my realtor friends to say, call me.
What about the military? I know that's not RDU, but like the helicopters that are coming from Fort Bragg. Do you deal with any of those inquiries, or do you
All of
refer
them.
them? Okay.
So
All
they
of
have to
them.
come to you as well.
Yeah, so we actually have a squadron of attack helicopters. It's technically not RDU property, but it's on the airport. It's state property, but anyway, we have a squadron of Apache helicopters, and those are the little, not little, but the green helicopters you'll see flying over Cary and Apex. They usually fly in groups of 3. They're at the airport, so I get calls about them all the time. But definitely being in North Carolina, you're going to have military traffic. So we have
sure.
Fort
Right,
Bragg.
Yeah.
We have Goldsboro, which is Seymour Johnson Air Force Base that has F-15s. I got some good stories about that. We have, or had, I guess, I don't know if he's still there, but we have an F-15 pilot at Seymour Johnson whose fiance was a student at Duke. And just coincidentally, we would get some low fighter jet overflies of Duke University. So I had to deal with that a few
That's
times.
not a good use of taxpayer dollars.
I don't want to get the guy in trouble, but yeah, so we definitely have the military here. The challenge with that is obviously as a civilian airport, or any of us, we can't track military flights, right?
Right.
So I can't call up Seymour Johnson and be like, hey, what was that? Was that normal? Like, they don't answer
Yeah, they're not
questions
gonna answer
about
those questions.
Yeah, they don't want people
Right,
tracking their
right.
flights. So that is a challenge, and that's something, of course, I always tell your clients, my customers, I call them, is that, hey, yeah, being in North Carolina, you're gonna have some military flights.
Right.
However, we don't have anything based at RDU. Like some civilian airports, like Burlington, Vermont, has a squadron of F-22 fighter jets that just moved there. We don't have that, and we likely will never have that in the future. So I'm comfortable with it.
Because all the military bases kind of support
Exactly.
that, right?
Yeah, we don't need to put a squadron of fighter jets at RDU because we're surrounded by military air bases.
So go back to the renovation that's happening. So,
So that's what we're so excited about. The Transform RDU. It includes the new runway. It includes a renovation of the roads. So it's called John Brantley Boulevard. So it's the road that goes past Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. So where you pick up and drop off people, that is going to be redone to allow for more capacity. I'm sure.
Yeah, Thanksgiving,
I was going to say, if you guys use the
picked
airport
up
enough.
and dropped off
Yeah.
my
Did-
sister-in-law, and it was crazy.
Yeah,
It was
that time of
traffic.
year. Yeah.
So we're working on that.
Will there be something like because a lot of airports have I love RDU because it's like the easiest airport to get in and out of. Even when we travel international, I'm like, I'll get there an hour early. I'll be fine. She's like 2 hours. I'm like, it's RDU. I can get there an hour early. I take
sure.
advantage of that.
I
But
go so
is
early.
it, is there going to be a way to get from Terminal 1 to Terminal 2, with maybe like a transit system or something like that?
So I know that's something they're looking at. And again, all this is really in the planning stages with our planning department and consultants. But yeah, they want to make that easier. You're actually going to see it now. If you go to Terminal 2 now, there's already a wall up because we are expanding our federal inspection station, which everybody knows is customs. So we're expanding that. As far as that connection, there is the underground tunnel. And I know they're looking at ways to kind of connect the two better.
Did they
but
know there was an underground tunnel? That's not something that we use, right?
Yeah, it's for the public. Yeah, not really an underground tunnel, but it goes
down.
It connects the two.
I got it. Yeah.
Because I used Terminal 1 for the first time.
Are they
the other day.
making Terminal 1 or 2 larger?
That's the other huge part of the Transform RDU. So part of moving that runway a little bit further west will allow us to expand Terminal 2 and add more gates.
Oh, that's great.
So we talk about RDU. I'm sure people are like, oh, we need to, as the community grows, the airport's going to have to grow. So you guys are going to have to build new runways, new taxiways. So actually the capacity of the airfield is fine. We don't need new runways besides replacing the old one. But when we replace it, it's actually going to turn into a taxiway. So we still will only have 2 runways.
So are they still going to use the old runway for
It's going to turn into a taxiway.
Okay, so they will.
Yeah.
Yep, it turns into a taxiway. But when we move that runway a little bit further, it will allow us to expand Terminal 2 in that same direction and add more gates. So I think we're going to go from, I think let's say now we have 50 total gates. I think we're going to go to like closer to 80.
Yeah.
So this will be
flights.
2030.
Yeah,
bringing in more airlines, things like that.
100%. Yeah. As the
more
community
international
grows.
nonstop flights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm so proud of how we've done with international.
Oh,
They've
absolutely.
taken away though some of the direct flights, right?
So some of the seasonal ones. So the recent one that you guys are probably talking about is Bermuda Air went away.
No.
But
It
that was
in Europe.
really
Maybe Iceland or
Iceland's still
France,
going
or-
strong. France still going strong.
France is still going
What
pretty
is
strong.
them?
Frankfurt has started and it's going strong with Lufthansa. But yeah, I'm impressed. Like, it's not really part of my position, but I'm
I love
so
our
impressed
airport.
with how we've done with international. And that's the big push to, again, expand that federal inspection station to allow more people to clear customs.
Yeah.
So that's another one of the limiting capacity things. But yeah, the growth is only going to continue. And I'll steal a question that everybody asked me is the new runway going to be bigger to allow bigger airplanes?
Oh, good point.
So
Honestly, I felt
the quick answer
the
is
biggest ones could
no.
go.
So the current runway is 10,000 feet long. The new runway is going to be 10,600.
So not much of a difference.
So it's not that much bigger.
Or don't we have like extremely large aircraft that land and
We
take
do.
off already?
Yeah, the Lufthansa flight, the Air France flight. I mean, these are some of the bigger airplanes
What
in
are
the
the
world.
largest ones that land? What's their model?
The A340. So the Airbus 340, which comes in, Lufthansa uses that periodically, but that's the biggest airplane now that uses RDU.
Wow.
So no 747s, no A380s. That's that double decker, the Airbus 3.
Yeah.
We don't have any of those yet, and our gates actually couldn't accommodate those. But yeah, that's the kind of thing that you would need a bigger runway for.
How large would a runway need to be for an
It
aircraft that
depends,
size?
but as a general rule, to fit in what are the biggest airplanes in the world, you would need a little bit over 11,000, maybe 11,500 feet.
And there's no point because you can't make the terminals work for it anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no point. And the way that our national airspace system really works is, everything is regulated by the FAA. So if you want to do anything, it's ask the FAA and they give you permission. And the way the FAA operates with commercial air traffic is not like Field of Dreams. It's not, oh yeah, build it and they will come. It's prove to us that you have a giant demand for X. And if you can't show that giant demand right now, then you don't get X.
How would one show that giant demand?
It would be through letters
Like
from
petitions?
airlines, petitions, local businesses. There's a lot of different ways, but it really boils down to the airlines themselves saying, hey, we want to bring in this giant airplane to RDU. You guys need a bigger runway, which we just simply don't have at this time.
Yeah.
That being said, this new runway we are building, there is
Room
for
future
expansion.
Yeah.
So it's not like, well, you're building this one and that's
How
it.
much would it have cost to just make it the size, even if you're not accepting
I
aircraft that
couldn't
large?
even begin to ask to
I'm like,
bid,
tell
but
me.
probably an additional, $300-400 million because
Yeah.
we're having to move Lumley Road to put in this new runway.
Yeah.
Like we're having to literally rebuild
Wouldn't it
a
make
road.
sense though, just to do it now while you're already moving
100%.
things, and then not accept the aircraft yet?
Yeah,
and then if
100%.
there is, I feel like at some point that will be done.
It will
And it's
be.
going to cost them what 10, 20
Yeah,
plus
but that could be
percent
10
more?
years down the road when
It
you
could
have to redo the other runway though,
It could
right?
be.
I know,
Exactly.
but like it's so much.
It is, but
savings.
again, it's not. If it was up to the airport, I'm pretty sure we would do all these things.
Yeah.
But again, it's regulated by the National Airspace System.
Who owns the airport? It's just
Great question. Who owns the airport?
Not me.
So the airport is owned and operated by the Raleigh-Durham Airport Authority,
Right.
which is a board of 8 members made up from 2 representatives from Durham City, Durham County, Wake County, and Raleigh.
Okay.
So each one of those municipalities puts forward 2 members to be on that board. So when we ask who owns the airport, my quick answer and the truth is the community owns the airport.
Okay.
That's why I always tell people I am a public servant.
Right.
I work for you. Like my job is to serve you. So when you guys have the client, you're like, oh, I don't want to bother that John guy at the airport.
He's like,
that
this
is my job. My job is to serve the community.
Yeah.
And that really is the attitude of all, 400 plus employees of the authority is, we're here for you. Our job is to maintain the airport in a safe and efficient manner for the community to use and to be happy with.
Because it's owned by the community.
Yeah. You own the airport. That's who owns the airport.
Okay,
you
take
do.
it back. Psych.
Flying private tomorrow.
Melody Brooks. So what does your everyday look like?
So my everyday, what I love about my job is my everyday is different, right? So every single day I'm getting to talk to a few dozen or more of our community members.
Okay.
So I come in and there's a multitude of media ways that noise complaints can come in. They can call me. My direct line is 919-840-7748. They can call the noise hotline at 919-840-2100.
What's your cell phone number?
Okay, that's the one that only a few people. But I answer immediately on either one of those. And
What about nights and weekends?
so I like that you asked that. So
I know, I bet you do. I can
as you
tell.
guys might know, or as certainly other realtors do, when I moved back here, I said I was from here, but when I moved back here in 2019 and we were buying a house in 2020, I'm sure you guys remember how crazy the market was.
Oh gosh. Yes.
Oh yeah.
So like
People were
You
like,
had
we
to-
don't care if there's jets landing on top
yeah,
of
so
us.
we made an offer on my house without me even looking at it. My wife saw it online
Sight unseen.
and I was at work and she was like, I'm making an offer.
Is
and I
this
was
the
like,
one with good insulated windows?
yeah, so what
that
I
you're
have, the
still
one we
in?
have now.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, can I just drive past it at lunch and look at it? She's like, nope, we got to make an offer now. So anyway, what I'm getting at is the market was insane. So my experience was these decisions have to make it super quick. So I'm in a roundabout way. I'm trying to answer the question for new home buyers, for your clients. I will gladly work on weekends and at nights to answer questions because I know they're up against it.
It's
Yeah.
true.
I know they need to make offers. I know they want these answers now. So I look at my emails all weekend long and at night. My rule is to answer all inquiries within 48 hours. So even if it's a noise complaint, I will. But certainly for the inquiries, for the people asking questions, hey, I'm looking at this house. What can you tell me? I get back to them same day, almost
What's a
always.
good email subject to kind of show you that it's urgent? Would it be helpful if somebody said,
No, I'm going to look at
making
them
an
all.
offer, have a question?
I'm going to look at them all. Like you said, my daily routine. I'm going to
Quickly.
check, my voicemails, my emails. People can put in inquiries through our online system, which is a third party called Casper. Not to get too far into it, but that's kind of my flight tracking system that I use that has all the flight data and all the radar stuff on it. But you can actually submit complaints and inquiries through that. So I come in every day and I don't like to leave for the night until I've answered everybody from that day.
That's
Does that
really
always
nice.
happen? No. And do I go on international trips and cruises where maybe I don't get back? Yes.
yes.
But usually only once a year I do something like that. So I try to get back to people immediately. Like I said, I'm a community member. I love this community more than anything. That's why I call these people, even the maddest people in the world,
No comment.
usually by the end of the conversation, they're no longer mad.
Yeah.
And that's my job.
Yeah.
That's my job is to de-escame.
That's got to be really rewarding though.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it is. And that's what I always try to tell people. People are like, like people on my hallway at work. Oh, you deal with these complainers yelling at you all day. I'm like, no, not really. I get to deal with our community members
Right.
that,
It's information, right?
Yeah.
A lot
That's
of
all it is
people just
information.
need to know what the facts are and that it's a wonderful place to live. And
Yes.
a lot of times the best locations are going to have noise, whether it's a highway, like we were
Yep.
talking about 540,
Being in Cary with the
40,
train.
440
Yeah, the train.
trains.
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't
you
need to
kind
tell.
of explain that, right?
Yeah, and I don't need to tell you guys, our community, I think it's the most educated in the whole country and one of the more educated in the entire world. And what I found in the 6 years doing this job here in North Carolina is while people may be mad, they may call me pissed off, they may call me names, they may use curse words. at the end of the day, we live in an unbelievably educated community that when you actually present to them why this is happening, what that noise is, what it means, they're happy.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, okay, now I get it. So I have this my little motto is educate, communicate, investigate.
Do you know how much your home is worth in the Triangle area, Raleigh-Durham, Charlotte, or the coastal regions of North Carolina? In this ever-changing real estate market, your home may be worth more than you think. Fill out the free home valuation form on teamandersonrealty.com to get a no-obligation, complimentary home evaluation now. Don't rely on computerized estimates or tax values. Instead, get a more accurate, current market value. Go to teamandersonrealty.com today or call 919-610-5126.
What are some cities or towns that aren't often on people's radar that you get inquiries about? 'Cause
Great
we all
question.
know Raleigh and Durham and
Great question. So what I always explain to people is, airplanes obviously move fast. So when we talk about the landing and the takeoff flight paths, airplanes line up to land at RDU anywhere from 5 all the way to 25 miles out. So a normal person is like, 25 miles. So yeah, it takes me 25 minutes from where I live in Cary. I'm not talking about how long it takes you to get to the airport. I'm talking about as the crow flies.
Yeah.
So as the crow flies, 25 miles out is Wake Forest and Holly Springs.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
So that is kind of an area where there is air traffic. It is outside of those noise contours, so you don't have to sign any disclosure, but you're going to get overflights probably more than you expected because you feel like you live really far away.
Yeah.
So that is an important point.
A lot of people don't understand that it is by the crow flies. I mean,
Yes.
but Raleigh it's a growing area, right? So we anticipate that the more that we grow, because it's been in the top 5 places to live in all of the United States, right?
Yeah,
So
since I was a kid, yeah.
right. So at the end of the day, how many people do we have moving into Wake? I know you know this answer.
Yeah. So for a while, I found some number that said it was 40. Our net population growth in Central North Carolina was 42 people a day.
That's right.
But
yeah.
recently, somebody told me it was 60 now.
wow.
So you think you've got 43 people that move into Wake County, right? Or Central a day. So that's growth. And as we have growth, you're going to have busier people. I love to travel. You love to travel. You've said you like to travel, right? So the more that people move here, the more traveling we're going to get them busier. We're going to get
people
things like that.
work in DC too.
Oh, absolutely.
And they
right?
will fly a couple days a week from RDU.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but we're going to grow with the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
The airport, we're a market-based industry. So whatever our community kind of demands of the airport is what it's going to turn into.
Right. So we can't slow growth necessarily because we're scared of noise either. Because that's where you're like, hey, go move out to Willow Spring. You don't hear it as much, right?
Does UPS use that airport?
Yeah.
We do.
FedEx?
We do. We have. Yeah, those are some of my main noise complaints. The UPS and the FedEx flight is the first flight in the morning. Usually, it comes in between 4:30 and 5:15 a.m. It wakes me up often where I live in Cary. But
windows.
we do have.
You hear them through your windows?
Sometimes, yeah. So,
but here's the thing that we as consumers, right? We are creating that one, right? The more that we don't want to go out and we want that simple, I want to go online to buy something. We're increasing those noise,
100%.
right? So we are driving some of that traffic here because of things that we want on demand really quickly.
Yeah,
so
I do love UPS.
I do love Amazon Prime.
both FedEx and UPS, they actually add a flight in December. So we're at a flight in December to bring in all the deliveries
What
and all the
about
gifts.
Amazon?
So Amazon is an interesting one. Amazon is big, and they actually have in Lakeland, Florida. They have a huge hub. They basically taken over the airport in Lakeland, Florida. But we don't have any Amazon flights that come in now. But I can definitely see that as being something in the future.
With that new runway.
Yeah, with the new runway.
Do you have areas, because they're not obviously using terminals 1 and 2, where are they loading, unloading, docking, and parking their planes?
Yeah, so kind of on the east side of the airport, we have a cargo facility for UPS and FedEx. So they have their own
charge
area.
them, or do they own their little spots?
Yes. So
leasing.
So yes, so the leasing, yeah. So everything at the airport is leased from the airport. The airport's actually not allowed to sell property. So it's a long story. Don't get me started. But and this is all airports. All airports are not allowed to sell property. They lease it.
Right. So we talked about before about, we were talking about Tesla driving, stuff like that. And so we were talking about that. Do you remember the conversation we had about the helicopters that?
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's in all my presentations. I kind of end them with industry developments, and I'm sure everybody is familiar with drones.
Right.
And
this is good.
5 years ago, I was one of the people that was like, oh, it's not. We'll see.
Are you certified to fly one?
No, our guests are though. Our guests here at this podcast company are drone pilots,
Wow.
but which is awesome.
That's not me either.
But yeah, so we know the little drones that we use to make marketing videos and things. But what we're going to start to see in the next 10 years really come about is the autonomous passenger drones.
Isn't that cool?
So these are
so
I would
cool.
be so scared.
these are going to be drones that address
I'd be like,
address the last mile or the final mile, or it's an important thing in travel going from one mode to another. But yeah, the RDU, like all the other airports, is really preparing for that kind of change to the National
how far
Airspace
would they
System.
go?
I mean, they're going to have the ones that are coming out now, a few 100-mile range. But they're really going to be to get people from kind of transportation hubs to the airport. So
Oh, that is so wild.
Isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
Though?
So the big rollout of those is actually, in the United States, what they're thinking is going to be the first huge kind of introduction to that is going to be the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Wow.
So they're already training all the air traffic controllers in Los Angeles to kind of accommodate these drones.
Who's operating? Like a pilot is in the drone?
So some of them may
No.
have pilots, but most of them will be autonomous.
Yeah,
So they will be
So some of them are going to be controlled by a pilot.
possibly.
Possibly, but you're going to sit in there and you're going to be essentially by yourself.
Yeah.
What
You
if
know, yeah.
the signal breaks
You
up?
ever been in a Tesla? The self-driving
I
mode?
know, but then people burn up inside them too.
Nothing
Well, it's, I have a
I'm like,
Tesla.
I could just see like the doors don't unlock.
Yeah.
This
No.
is totally back to the future, but present.
But yeah, we see the self-driving. I have a Tesla, and the self-driving, it's unreal.
It
and,
is.
Do you
And when
know your emergency latch and how to access it?
the emergency latch?
Yes.
No.
To open your door if the
Oh, a little button, the little pull thing.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I went and test drove one.
You gonna get one?
I test drove one like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Because I was like, I think I'm gonna get one because like I'm so busy, right? But obviously it's not to text and drive. I know you can't do that. But it was more like just thought about adding solar panels and not having to pay for that. So
charging,
I
yeah.
tried the part where she was like, okay, now we're gonna let it drive itself. And I was like,
Do you trust it?
yeah, it was great. And it's actually the courteous driver. The self-drive
Yeah, it
is
does well.
the courteous driver to everyone.
Have you seen that people are saying if you go into cemeteries, they show people walking around?
No, I haven't seen that.
It does see people around you. Yeah.
It does. Yes, it does. It sees far. Yeah.
But
yeah.
you go into cemeteries and it shows little people
Yeah, I've seen
walking.
that. Yeah. No, I haven't tested that
Okay,
yet,
John,
though.
I need you to go into a cemetery with your Tesla because I don't
Please.
have one yet.
But to
gotta get one now.
your point, that self-driving technology, it really
Yeah.
is getting people comfortable with what it sounds like you have a little bit of heartburn about is the not having a pilot. But yeah, we're gonna see these drones.
Although most accidents happen takeoff and landing due to pilot error.
Yeah, most
Yes.
airplane accidents are human error.
I actually was on a cruise years ago with a guy that investigated plane crashes, and he told me a lot of accidents that he investigated, and like that was a big part of it. So I do see how it could almost be safer in some ways. Then I wonder about technology and working out those little bugs.
Yeah, it's
what are
gonna
the
be
bugs
something-
in those situations?
It's going to be something that the market.
And do you think
Yeah.
that they'll
customer-
have like parachutes on them?
I mean, they'll have some kind of safety mechanism. I mean, they'll have
Yeah,
to,
so-
right?
so-
He's like, no.
So
they're
most
just
of
gonna-
these drones are, they're I'm getting into the details here. They have rotors, so the same way like a helicopter.
Oh, that's even scarier.
Well, you say
You
scarier.
can't just glide
Well, you can,
a
though.
helicopter down very easily.
Well, you can. They auto rotate. So if a helicopter's flying, which we have a bunch around here, a bunch of hospital helicopters and law enforcement and news, if its engine just cuts out in the middle of the flight, it runs out of gas. You can auto rotate, which is which is the equivalent of gliding. So the helicopter will not slowly, but it will descend in a controlled manner. I mean,
rapidly.
I'm getting way into the details here, but
Well, I don't like jumping from planes. We determined that 2 years
But
ago.
she did.
So I'm not planning on it, but I do think that's very cool that, where it's going.
It would be amazing and quiet, right?
and again,
The whole noise thing.
Like Water World.
yes, the noise thing is fantastic, but again, not to, I know I keep doing this, but going back to our community, I can see our community eating those up.
Oh, for sure.
We got all these
very,
young
very high
tech bros
Yes.
and people that are savvy.
Absolutely.
And they want to be cutting edge. And I could just see, I could see in the near future a drone going from the airport to RTP.
Oh, yeah.
To bring people to and from their office.
Absolutely.
Something I kind of related, something I always point out to my wife is on Sundays, because we're underneath the flight path, I always point out to her the number of private jets that are coming back on Sundays.
Oh, for sure.
And I always point out to her, these are wealthy people coming back to work.
Mm-hmm.
So they went wherever they went for the weekend in their private jet to the Caribbean or to Paris, and they're coming back. And that's another thing. I with this job, I focus so much on the airlines, but don't forget, RDU has what's called general aviation in the industry, and that is the little airplanes, the private jets, the business jets.
Can they park their?
So they actually have their own spot on the airport called the general aviation ramp, but it's a huge ramp with two businesses that service them. They're called FBOs, but they service those private jets, and that's where your charters will come in. So whenever like our teams, our colleges travel or the Hurricanes, they utilize that general aviation area.
Okay, well, I would like a private tour of that, John. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Just fly us somewhere.
I would like a tour of that, please.
Yeah. So we have quite a few of those. I always tell people, like, as far as our community goes, we have a lot of rich people, but we don't have that many wealthy people. So I compare it
What's
to Florida.
a rich person versus wealthy? I'm from Florida, so I know
100 million. So we have a lot of millionaires here, but we don't really have a ton of people with multiple private jets like I kind of dealt with in Florida at the little airport I was in South Florida.
What airport were you at?
I worked at Fort Pierce.
Oh, yeah.
So
I got a horse in Fort Myers. So
Fort Myers. Okay.
Yeah,
So that's over on the
from
West
Florida,
Coast.
actually.
yeah,
I
I was
didn't
born
know.
in Boynton.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
But,
awesome.
There's a lot of money in South Florida.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There's a lot of money here. So I see that growing too, by the way. So we're talking about all these, commercial
so much growth
travelers.
here. I mean, even like the where the Hurricanes, I guess, where they that whole area, it's now going to be, I guess, like a hotel, and they're going to change that dynamic a little bit too. So
Yeah, there's plans to continue to improve what we call the airport campus, and the rental car process is something that we're trying to improve as well.
we have a
So,
great idea for that if you want to know in the future.
of course.
I think the rental car process at RDU, although we don't rent from RDU, but at any airport where you can't
We were in
get-
Phoenix for this conversation.
where you can't just walk in from your terminal and
For
then
sure.
drive out
For
is
sure.
very
Yeah,
inconvenient.
some more like
When
a
I travel-
valet. Yeah.
When I travel, I
valet.
love that. And I love not having to get on a bus
Oh, for sure.
and go to the rental cars like Las Vegas. It's like that.
Melody couldn't find a really great rental. I've said Enterprise, and she goes, you know what? That's too expensive. So
Oh gosh.
she bussed us. It was called New Car Rental
New car
in
rental.
Key.
Okay.
Was it Key West?
No,
Or
we were in Miami. We were in
and
Miami.
we really learned to appreciate the rental companies that
are
the
in-
Versus
airport
having to get
contracts
there.
with.
Yeah,
Well, just
absolutely.
the companies in general.
Okay.
Renting from the airport is safer, in my
Oh.
opinion, on quality and how to get
Convenience.
there.
I mean,
Yeah.
convenience alone. It's even like parking at, the airport. We'll pay, we went most of the times when we travel, and even when I travel, we're going 6 days, right? And we live all the way in Holly Springs. So to Uber, it's like, well, I could just pay to park there, right? I'm going to pay a premium to park there so I can be up close. So having something that's a little bit further away would be nice, but not have to worry about how am I going to get there? It's going to take me 30 minutes to wait for a bus. So if that's in the plans too for transportation.
Oh, for sure. That's one of the things that's wrapping up now is our remote parking over off of National Guard Boulevard by Sheets.
Oh yeah, right by the National Guard.
Yeah, so I think,
yeah.
what is it? Now we have, it's called Park Economy 3.
Right.
I think we have,
Because it's substantially cheaper.
yeah, it's substantially cheaper and they have the buses going nonstop. But I think there's 3,000 spots now. But in a few months, when it opens, there's going to be 9,000 spots. And we're actually going to get our first charging stations, solar powered charging
Whoop,
stations.
whoop, that's from a Tesla.
For all of our EVs.
When that battery dies and you're paying $30,000.
No, there's a warranty on it.
we have a when I like our Tesla dealership in Raleigh is periodically the number one in the entire country as far as number of cars sold.
Oh, absolutely.
So as the airport, we wanted to respond to that and make sure that we're serving those customers.
How many charging stations would you anticipate?
It's actually going to be 100 charging stations.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Yeah,
and that's not too many because sometimes I'll go in Holly Springs, that new shopping center or complex that's across from 12 Oaks, feel like they almost have too many charging stations. And then the people that are not electric struggle because they're not allowed to park there.
Yeah,
So 100 for 9,000 spots is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll be full with, longer term parkers. So
it'll still be buses that would get, or is there going to be a different type of transportation to get to
so
and from there?
there'll be regular buses, and that's also part of Transform RDU in the next 5-6 years. Is to kind of build a dedicated bus lane. So
see, that would be so nice.
Where those buses don't have to compete with the rest of the traffic. Yeah. So I'm coming up with this, but if you guys go to Disney a lot, there are dedicated lanes for the Disney buses.
Yeah. It's
that's
so
the similar
convenient.
thing. That's going to be the similar situation at RDU. But again, that's a few years away. But
are they going to build the runway first?
Yeah, so all of this is happening. All of this is happening simultaneously.
Okay.
So redoing the roads.
So the runway won't be open for 5 or 6 years.
The runway won't be open until 2030. Yeah.
Okay.
So right now we're currently doing the groundwork. So literally leveling and building up the ground where we're going to pave the runway.
And how do you maintain the runway that's going to still be used for taxiing?
Mm-hmm. So it is constantly every fall. We are replacing what we call slabs of concrete. I think they're 15 by 15.
Is it because they're cracking?
It's because they're cracking.
Okay.
So we are replacing those slabs, daily with new slabs, and it's a complicated process. But yeah, we're keeping that runway alive because we have to. Mm-hmm. We're keeping that runway alive and safe and usable while at the same time building the new runway.
Right. Do you use a different type of cement for the new runway or mixture?
So it's all special cement. It's incredibly strong and incredibly expensive to handle the weight of the airplanes. But I think what you're probably getting at is you're building one that's not going to die. But when you think about it,
has it changed from when you built it, or you replaced so many slabs with the newer material? Like, is it the same concrete?
Yes, it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same aviation grade concrete.
Is the base going to be different? Is the prep, or is it all?
It's all pretty much the same. I'm sure. I think the current runway that's at the end of its life. I think it opened in 1986.
Oh wow!
Ooh.
So we've gotten about 40 years out of it, and I think the expected life is 30 to 40 years.
So the new one would be
about
the same.
Years. What happens when that one runs out? Where are you going to go?
We'll redo it, rebuild it.
The same one.
Yeah.
Because you run out of space at that point.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, we don't really our airport property footprint doesn't really go any further, and there's
by then there's going to be just drones, right? 30, 40 years.
It'll be a little bit easier about then. It's a completely different conversation because we were having a different conversation in the 80s than we are right now.
100%. 100%. Right. Airplanes might be more efficient where they need a lot less runway to take off.
Sure.
So who knows? But yeah, 40 years from now, I'll be retired, so I won't have to worry about that. Oh, you won't be
answering emails?
Yeah, I'll still be answering emails then, yeah. But yeah, that is actually a good question. What are you going to do when this one runs out? Where's the next runway? So.
And what's the reason to not, because you need the taxi lane, why not just, because you have to keep
you got
flights and stuff
Yeah, because, what do you mean? What's the reason for keeping it open?
I answered my own question, because you can't redo it. It takes so long to do.
And the good news, which you probably wondering is, are you guys going to go down to one runway at some point? My understanding is literally our existing runway that we use every day, it's going to close one night and it's not going to reopen, and the other one's going to open.
Oh,
so there's not going to be any lag time where it's like we're down to one runway. We're making sure that we build this existing runway. Mm-hmm. I mean, we build this new
in tandem with that.
Yeah, in tandem, and so we can use the existing runway right up until the end of it, and close it. It turns into a taxiway, and the other one opens.
That's great.
So, that's really interesting.
It's exciting.
That's
Are you kind of part of that process? You see it?
Yeah. So my little job is in the planning department. So my boss is the vice president of planning and sustainability. So yeah, I get to be privy to all of that, which is awesome because I get to understand kind of what the airport's doing. And then I can talk to people like you and talk to people in the community and have a lot more insight into what's actually going on. So it's actually a really good perk of my job to get to understand what's going on.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it was really fun talking to you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
We really
so fun.
appreciate.
So educational.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to leave you guys with never hesitate. Other realtors that are listening to this, never hesitate to have your people call me. My little line I always tell people, I would never, ever tell anyone not to buy a home. I just present them with data and then talk them
You make
through
the
kind of what to
decision.
expect.
I feel
Yeah.
like the real estate agent, while with the client, can give them really great feedback.
They
When
can,
I was at the
100%.
showing, I was like, for the right person, they're not going to care. But these people specifically really love the outdoors. And they said that it was bothering them. And at that point, I'm like, well, then this isn't the home,
It's
for,
not the
you.
home for you. Yeah. I mean, it's
But
just like my house.
There's
It's-
somebody that's just going to love. It was a beautiful
100%.
property, and the location was phenomenal. And it's not a reason to not, even 540
Yeah.
or anything
was
else.
scary at
the
first,
dump in
yeah.
Holly Springs has some
Harris
nice
Lake,
odors
yeah.
occasionally.
Yeah. It's just
Nuclear power plant.
Yeah,
being-
it's just disclosed. I mean, I live on a main road, and
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me, but to someone,
people
it
it might.
will, right? So
Yeah.
it just depends on if you don't want the noise, and you're like, I just don't want to hear it, because we're growing. We are a community that's growing. We've grown
trust me, I
drastically
know all the time.
since 2021 specifically. So as we grow, the more you're going to see noise and all of these things. So that's when we have rural areas that you're not affected in Clayton by the runway and
100%.
over here in RDU, and you're picking that area for that purpose usually. So
True.
yeah.
And then again,
proximity
just don't
to the
forget,
airport will have some noise.
we'll have some noise.
Yes,
And then
yeah.
just don't forget that the airplanes are only getting quieter.
That's right.
That's
So
such a
even-
great thing to read.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to
State.
reiterate that at the end of this. It's just keep that in mind that they're only getting quieter, they're only getting more efficient. So
And they're only going to get
I
better.
always tell people now is the worst case scenario. It's only going to get better.
Oh,
So,
for sure. Absolutely.
Great point.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your time, and we'll be
Yes.
sending all of our clients and our agents to you,
please do.
Yeah,
Please
and
do.
sending them
Sure.
this video.
Awesome.
Well,
Please do.
thank you
Podcast.
so much. We
Thank
really
you guys so
appreciate
much.
Have
it.
a great one.
Yeah.
Thanks. See you.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the T.A.R. Life podcast with top producing mega agent Erica Anderson. If you've enjoyed this episode or found the content to be useful or fun, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Visit our website at www.teamandersonrealty.com. We are actively serving the Triangle area, Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte, and the coastal regions of North Carolina. If you're looking to sell a home, please contact Team Anderson Realty to set up an in-person or virtual consultation today.